Every Sith apprentice is basically forged in fire, tested by their master, right to the breaking point. But the apprentice is always more than a student. They're a rival, a replacement, just waiting in the shadows. And for a guy like Darth Sidious, this meant his chosen weapon had to be absolutely flawless, unbreakable, and lethal. He didn't just train his apprentices. He systematically erased the person they were to build the exact monster he required. This process of destruction and rebirth was never a single event, but a lifetime of calculated cruelty. Still, there always had to be a final exam. A definitive test where the apprentice proves they have that one quality that matters above all else, the will to kill their own master. So Lore Junkies friends, join us as we dive into that final brutal trial from Legends, a story that ends with the one documented moment where an apprentice made Darth Sidious himself bleed. Before we can even get to the trial, we have to understand the weapon. The being who would become Darth Maul was taken as a child, his identity scraped away layer by layer and replaced with a singular purpose, to serve the dark side. Now, in the Star Wars Legends continuity, his training was this meticulous and monstrous project that spanned decades, and it wasn't centered in some single temple, but all across the galaxy in the harshest environments Sidious could find. According to his story, he was sent to the Orsis Academy, a brutal combat school where he learned to fight and kill, honing his body into a perfect weapon without having to always rely on the Force. He endured trials on brutal worlds, each one designed to strip away another piece of himself, leaving only a vessel of pure, focused rage. Sidious's whole philosophy was simple: pain is the greatest teacher. He saw compassion as a disease and mercy as a fatal flaw. He would force Maul to run until he collapsed, only to punish him for showing any weakness. Through these years of torment, Sidious wasn't just training a warrior. He was programming a living weapon, making sure that when the time came, Maul would have no emotional response but fury, no instinct but to kill. By the time Maul was a young adult, he was a masterpiece of Sith engineering, but even the most perfect weapon has to be given a final stress test before it can be truly unleashed. Now, according to Maul's personal journal, this was his initiation into becoming a Sith Lord, his final trial. For this, Sidious dropped Maul off on the world of Hypori with a fleet of assassin droids, programmed with one goal in mind: to attack. And this wasn't a simple survival exercise, it was a systematic dismantling. Sidious made it clear to his apprentice that he was prepared to lose Maul if the worst were to happen. This was the final, ultimate test. For the next 30 days, Maul is subjected to repeated attacks. Night after night, he's awakened by the assassin droids. He was forced to fight, move camp, and then fight again. He's driven across mountain snows and burning deserts. In one fight, he loses his survival pack and is forced to kill and forage just to survive. But food is scarce, and he starts to grow thin and weak. Then, one battle with the droids leaves him with a blaster wound on his thigh. With no Bacta or medical supplies, he's forced to hide in a cave as the wound gets infected. By this point, he's in blinding pain, too weak to even look for food or water, and he's even starting to hallucinate. He was dying. And it was in this moment of ultimate vulnerability that his master finally appeared before him. But Sidious didn't show up as a savior. He stood at the mouth of the cave, and his voice wasn't one of concern, but of cold, clinical judgment. He only greeted him with this: "Now, it is time for your final battle." Another battle. Maul couldn't even walk, but he forces himself to stand, fumbles to activate his lightsaber, ready for whatever's next. However, he is not ready for this. His final test is no droid. It is his master. Darth Maul just pathetically swings at Darth Sidious, who simply toys with him. The apprentice is barely strong enough to stay awake, but he's forced to harness whatever the dark side can give him. All the while, Sidious is just mocking him, saying he's not worthy, that he misjudged him. And to draw out even more power from Maul, Sidious goes so far as to lie, stating that he has secretly been training another apprentice this whole time. And not only that, but this secret apprentice is on the other side of the planet right now, having already conquered the droids. He is healthy, powerful, strong, unlike Maul, who is pathetic and weak. From here, we want to read directly from Maul's journal because the duel turns visceral. I realized duly what this means. My opponent had not really been the droids. My opponent had been someone I had never seen. He will become a Sith Lord. He will receive the honor I was due. A slow rage begins to burn through me. My rage will consume my enemy. It will consume my master. Yes, my master is now my enemy. He is my betrayer. Sidious just asks him contemptuously, "Can you make the next leap in logic? If there can be only one apprentice, then one of you must die. Who do you think I have chosen to die?" And that was it. The rage rockets within me, pumping energy into my muscles. I can do anything. I can kill my master. Zub, with a howl torn from the depths of my belly, I spring at him. He's an unchained force of nature. Sidious is forced on the defensive, parrying these savage, unpredictable strikes. It's a desperate, close-quarters struggle. And then, it happened. In a blur, Maul does something primal. I lunge forward and I sink my teeth into his hand. I strike like an animal, so quickly he doesn't have time to step away. I taste his blood and spit it back at him in contempt. For the first time, Sidious cries out a real sound of shock and pain. Blood, his master's blood, was on Maul's lips. The moment just stretched on. Darth Sidious, the ultimate puppet master, stood there stunned with a trickle of his own blood running down his arm. He looked at the wound, then at his apprentice, and this strange look crossed his face. Not just anger, but surprise, mixed with a cold, terrifying pride. But the lesson wasn't over. Sidious brutally ends the duel, striking Maul down, and as Maul lay defeated, Sidious finally reveals the truth. My master laughs. He tosses the lightsaber aside. It is a training saber. It does not harm me. It's following this exchange that Sidious reveals the whole other apprentice thing was a lie. Maul had passed his test, and with flying colors. The physical wound he inflicted was insignificant. The real test was whether Maul had the spirit, the pure hatred, to inflict it. By being willing to do anything to use his teeth, his nails, to destroy his master, Maul hadn't failed. He had graduated. The blood he drew wasn't a mark of Sidious's weakness. It was the final seal of his own ascension. He was now, truly, a Dark Lord of the Sith. Say what you will about Palpatine's manipulation tactics, but this whole ordeal on Hypori really defines the Legends version of Darth Maul. It perfectly shows you that brutal, paradoxical nature of the Sith rule of two. The Master has to create an apprentice strong enough to kill them, while the apprentice lives in constant fear of being replaced. Sidious forged Maul in those fires, not just to make him strong, but to make sure his hatred was so absolute, it would be the only tool he ever used. And honestly, this story just reveals the profound difference between the Jedi and the Sith. A Jedi Master would die for their Padawan. A Sith Master expects their apprentice to die for them, or die trying to kill them. That blood Sidious shed was just a testament to his success. He had created the perfect weapon. And while you could say Count Dooku was more intelligent or Darth Vader was more powerful, I feel that of all of Sidious's apprentices, Maul was the only one who truly understood what it meant to be Sith. The pain tolerance of Maul is just beyond mortal. And it's moments like these that enabled him to survive being cut in half on Naboo. His focused hatred kept him alive, even if it cost him his mind. He is maybe the most resilient character in the lore, and the blood that Sidious lost in that cave, it was probably a wound he wore with a secret, twisted sense of pride, the ultimate proof that his methods, however monstrous, were brutally effective. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like this is the most brutal Sith trial in all of Star Wars Legends? Does it feel like he's had to fight his whole life for every scrap of survival? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories from a galaxy far, far away. And as always, may the Force be with you, and we will see you in the next Holocron.